I will open the meeting of the Charlton Water and Sewer Commission on tonight. It is April 1st, 2026. And first, I would ask if there's anyone here from Public Forum. Hearing nobody, I will ask you, Robert, to go ahead with the minutes and warrants that you have for us.
I make a motion to accept the minutes dated March 4th, 2026 as written.
I second.
Any debate on any of this stuff or discussion of it? If not, then Sue, we can have a vote.
All right, Mr. Robert Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas Coleman,
Microphone's muted.
okay, we'll go to Mr. Groton,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
Aye.
okay.
You have more for us, Robert?
I make a motion to accept warrants totaling $222,871.41.
Hey, Kim, here we go.
We had a second?
I second.
Okay,
Okay, any discussion on any of the figures within those warrant figures?
No, it isn't.
If not, we'll have a vote on them, please, Sue.
okay, Mr. Robert Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Groton,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
Aye.
hey, oh,
Next up, we have a normal appointment for Veolia, which I did see Dennis here somewhere. So Dennis, I think you're up for that.
Yes, sir. So the month of March was a little different. You know, there's some extra activities. So I'll start with the operations and maintenance activity stuff. Actually, I'm sorry, with the compliance. So February, I think I messed that up. March is it's supposed to say March, where it says February. So we failed TSS and copper for the month. TSS, I think you already know about. That's an ongoing issue. And then the copper is a winter issue that we've faced in the past. So with that, we did receive the non-compliance letter from the DEP. I believe almost everybody on the board probably received it. I think it was sent to everybody from the DEP. Veolia and myself, as part of Veolia, we drafted a reply letter with a plan of action. So I will have that out to you tomorrow. I will send it to Sue and Vinny, and they can distribute it if anybody wants to have any comments. I believe that since it was addressed to the town should send it back. Obviously, we prepared it for you, and we'll go from there. I believe it is due by the 11th, so we'll get that going. So in the plant, we had some stuff happen. We had a caustic pump went down. This is normal stuff. You know, they've been there for a while. We had purchased a couple replacements. We've actually replaced 2 of the same type of pumps. One was a poly pump. One was a caustic pump this year. They don't last forever, but we do keep them for spare parts. Some of the parts are still valuable, but they are $3,500 a piece. So, you know, we don't take that very lightly. When we have to change one out, we try to do everything we can to keep them going. We purchased and installed new safety barriers within the side door, which is the back area of the lab, which frequently, sometimes people use that. So there's signage for not to enter past that area. And now there's barriers that basically say, this is a production area, you know, do not proceed. There's actually a new sign on the door that says if the door's locked, and there's one in the front also. If the doors are locked, please call the number, which is our I like to call the hotline phone, so somebody will always answer. We're just taking extra procedures for the security of the plant, not to let people roam around or invite themselves in without being escorted. We actually I just finished cleaning the gutters, which was one of my pet peeves. We had 3 or 4 foot plants growing out of the back gutter, so I had to rent a special lift, crawler lift, to get it in the back area to be able to do all that. I got it done in a day and a half, so it looks much better. We also installed the new Ferric pumps. So we've been over that before. The Ferric pumps were old, over 10 years old. They didn't make them anymore. It was hard to get parts for them. We got some new pumps. They're working excellent. We've seen a little bit less usage. So it's kind of an exciting time. Vine Road, we had some issues there. We still have issues there. One of the pumps does not want to work anymore. We have to order some parts for it, possibly. We have to replace the 2 check valves that are on the discharge side of the pumps. I believe that they rotted off and are gone. They're just little wafer check valves, so they're real thin. They don't last very long in a corrosive environment. And when one pump turns on, it actually pumps itself into the other pump and cycles around, and we're not getting water out of the station. So that's an issue. But working on that. There's a plan in place to replace those and go forward. It's not a very big job. Main Street, no big deal. We got to change a balance there. The lights acting up. Simple stuff. Normal things. 6 loads of sludge, 5 totes of caustic. Caustic use has been down a little bit too, which is exciting. It's always exciting when you can use less of chemicals. The Main Street pump station, I just wanted to bring this up so you guys know again. This happened in the summertime. The generator tank sprung a leak just from age. We had Charlton Oil come out. They put a magnetic patch on it. We got a temporary barrel tank inside, which is a temporary solution. And we need to seek an alternative solution, which is a permanent tank. Vinny was going to talk to, I believe it was the fire department and or the city to see what kind of permitting we need to possibly install this tank outside of the station, of the actual physical building of the station. Only because if we replace the tank for that generator, it's probably about $20,000. So it's probably going to be a 10th or a 20th of the cost if we get an external tank and pipe it in and insulate the pipes, as long as we're allowed to do that. And we need to replace the radiator for Vine Road on the generator. It's rotted. We had a different company come out. FM Generator seemed to be a little bit unrealistic on their pricing. They wanted about $8,500, I think it was, to replace the radiator. That didn't seem too reasonable. So Vinny and I found another company that works on heavy equipment and generators, and we're just waiting for the final quote for that. And so you're going to see that coming, but obviously it'll go through its approval process because I'm sure it's still going to be quite expensive. Other than that, that's about all I have. It was actually I skipped a page. I lost it. There it is. I didn't skip it. I just didn't look at it very well. We had 5 grinder pumps calls in March. I expect that's gonna keep up. We're I think last spring, summer-ish, we averaged 2 or 3 a week. As you know, as everybody starts moving into their houses again around the pond, the lake, it's going to get busy. So a lot of them are the alarms going off. We found a couple that had a grease buildup on the floats, not letting them move around. A couple of them had bad floats. And I expect that to continue. So that's just the season. And that will conclude my stuff.
Actually, Dennis, you had a quote you wanted to talk about?
Yes. I don't have it.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions for Dennis?
I do. Infiltration inflow this spring, has it been bad. I was down there one time when it was bubbling out of the manholes. Is that a common thing?
Yes, so obviously the plant can only take so much. I think the meter maxes out at 746, and we had a solid, I would say, week and a half of 746 every day. So there was no way of knowing how much is actually going through the plant after that. We didn't do extra bypass pumping only because the plant can only take so much. So with the aggravation of the TSS already having its issues, I chose to just let it take what it could. And for the most part, it took 99.9% of it. So that's going to happen every spring, snow melt. It just maxes the plant out. It'll happen once in a while with a big storm, but not as often.
Yep. And are we obligated to do I remediation every year? How much of that is within Veolia's scope and how much is something the board's supposed to be taking care of? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't think that was part of Veolia's scope that I remember.
Yeah, I
To
don't
do
know.
any type of ionized type studies. I know it's been discussed, through just amongst us that there's possible INI issues. Not too sure where it's coming from, only because we have most of it's a forced system, and we don't take storm drains, so it's groundwater seeping in somewhere. It'd be hard to pinpoint that.
Yeah, or sump pumps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine mostly all the sump pumps were maxed out everywhere, so everybody was sending it to us.
Yeah, yeah.
I judge it I judge it by the little brook. So when the brook is high, I know what's coming, but the brook wasn't too bad. So it's definitely coming from people's homes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
So do you have the quote that I sent you?
I do.
I think that one.
Yeah,
just,
they got a copy of it too. Well, I don't know how to, no, I don't have it on the screen. I don't know how to do that.
What was that
It was
for
for
Trojan?
Trojan Technologies, a total
Trojan,
of
yes. Yep.
$4,001.35.
So that is for the sensors on the UV system and the readouts. So two of the readouts do not work, and I believe two of the sensors don't work. As part of their contract that we have with them to come out and service the system, they basically do the labor for free as part of their coming out to service the system. We pay for parts. So those items are going to be very important and go hand in hand with the return to compliance order. As part of that we are running all the systems to 100% capacity and not just any type of guesswork in there that something isn't working properly or to its fullest.
Are those sensors going to increase the disinfection rate?
Yes and no. So it would tell us if
You had TSS.
a bank is not illuminating to its capacity. So for some reason, if it's, I don't know, if it's half working, we'll know that, hey, that train isn't working to its capacity. Maybe we shouldn't use it. Shut it down, fix it. Without the sensors working, we don't know if the system is working to its full capacity or not. It's kind of guesswork. And I don't really want to tell the DEP guy that it should work. I plugged it in, because the first thing they're going to look at is, hey, well, these readouts aren't working. How do you know it's actually working properly? It's guesswork. So
In your guess with the DSS that we're getting, is a fully functional UV system gonna disinfect?
no,
Okay.
it's not. It's one thing off the chopping block, basically.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you that we have to do it.
Yeah. I am exploring having the polymer rep come back in, do some jar testing to see if we're still using the right product, still using the right dosage, because we're seeing a lot of the issue, what we believe to be, is in the Comag tank.
Yeah.
It's just not reacting properly.
Do we need a motion to approve the Veolia, the Trojan budget?
Yes, and include the dollar amount, please.
Okay. Well, I move that we approve the Trojan Technologies budget for $4,001.75 for parts for the UV disinfection system.
I second.
I'm sorry, that was Tom that second?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on this subject? Hearing none, Sue may take a vote.
Mr. Robert Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Groton,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner.
Aye.
Great.
Anybody got anything else for Dennis? If not, we can move on to new business.
Thank you, Dave.
Can I just step in real quick? I want to apologize, guys. I edited the agenda on the website, but I forgot to send it to you. So there is one new line item under new business, which Paul is going to take over. I just wanted to give you a heads up, so you're not wondering where we are on the agenda.
Okay, the item was to deliberate and vote upon a new executive assistant. Now, the other day, yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Eric and I interviewed two different people, which I must say were both very qualified, but we ended up kind of choosing one. And we would want to know that the rest of the commission accepts our choice, and this would, offer the job to the person subject to her passing the query test and check her references and that sort of thing. Do you want the name at this time, Sue?
Well, yeah, you have to motion to appoint.
Okay, we're not motion to appoint. I've been looking for a motion to appoint Callie Matthew for this position.
Yeah,
I second.
I move to appoint Callie Matthews for the position of executive assistant, contingent on the approval of the Corey form. Is there something else, Sue, that has to
And the
be?
reference checks.
And a reference check.
I second.
Was that Tom?
Yes, it was.
Okay, probably no discussion of it because two of you haven't met Callie yet, but you have to take me and Eric's word that we did give quite a, an in-depth interview with her and another candidate, and this was the choice we made. So Sue, I will ask for a vote we have a motion and a second.
Yep. Mr. Robert Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Groton,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner.
Aye. That being said, we can move on to the faulty meter procedure.
All right. So you guys asked us to make this procedure. We provided it to you. It's basically a step-by-step guide in what should be done when we find these meters that don't read properly. The initial discovery is logging it. The next step is an on-site visit. The third is the certified written notice. And the final step will be the billing adjustment, where we'll convert their account to a flat rate. And then the fifth step would be restoration of the metered billing if we can get access to correct it. Anybody have any questions, discussion?
I'm just wondering how this relates to the process of attempting to contact them. Is this after you've contacted them before, or?
So finding people's phone numbers isn't always the easiest thing. There is a step in here that says make a phone call to the property owner or the occupant and explain the issues. If we can't get that, the next step is an on-site visit, and that's where we're going to knock on the door. Nobody answers. We're going to leave those little door hangers that we showed at the last meeting. That'll have contact information for them to get a hold of the department, so we can make the steps needed to get in there and make the repair. This is just to streamline a few bugs. There's not a whole lot of residents that we had trouble getting a hold of, but there is a couple that are not easy. Whether they're vacation homes or what, I'm not sure, but this should help us out.
So have we been able to recently contact any of the owners?
Veolia has made great headway at taking care of the defective meters. Dennis is sending his guys out every couple of days. They're changing equipment. I'm looking at 4 old pieces of equipment right in the office that they've replaced and gotten functioning. So, yeah, us talking about it in the meetings and putting these steps in place is working.
Glad to hear that.
Were the meters tampered with or just old and defective?
We're not gonna make any judgment at this time on that. Most of them don't look like they were.
Okay. Thank you.
And until we can prove that we did our due diligence at the time of installation, where the meter was sealed with a tamper-proof seal, we can't really go back and say that was the case with everyone that was installed, because we don't have the records of it being sealed. So,
Okay.
Okay, any more on the meter situation? If not, we'll move on to a new water connection privilege fee at 9 City Depot Road. I don't think we've heard back anybody from the new rate study yet, so I assume it's going to be the current thing, and previous bills should kind of dictate what that should be, but you guys can discuss it, and I'm going to stay out of it.
so this rate study, it comes and goes as far as how, not the rate study, I'm sorry, the privilege fee. So most privilege fees that I've handled since I've been here are calculated off of the Title V. The Title V is the amount of water that the property would use at its peak. So for a laundromat, it's a considerable amount of water. I've reviewed the Massachusetts Title V listings, and it says it's 400 gallons per day per machine. Doing that calculation with our current privilege fee, it would be $34,000 for a privilege fee on this existing property.
I'm sorry, did you say 34?
Yes,
Okay,
that's not it's 34,000 and some others.
okay.
Before we assess this fee to the customer, I'd like to get McClure involved so we can have a professional opinion. Because this account has been tied to the sewer system for many years. We do have historical usage. So this could be a property that the board might not want to look at the Title V and may want to review previous usage. So before we commit to sending them this really large bill, I'd like to get McClure involved and have them review it.
Yeah, so this is just a water tie-in. The sewer's not an issue.
The sewer's already tied in. We meter their well water, which in most instances is okay, except for the fact that during the summer when the well runs dry or they need to augment their supply, they bring in pool water. And then we don't capture any revenue on the sewage from that pool water supply. I'm sure it's not a huge amount that's gonna, change a whole lot, but it is a factor.
And is anybody paying the town of how does Southbridge?
So
Shit.
Southbridge assesses their privilege fee based on the size of the connection. That hasn't been the model since I've been here. It's always been based on the Title V.
So in this case, because it's in Charlton, we're assessing the tie-in fee in Southbridge?
Southbridge assesses their privilege fee.
Okay,
So for a 2-inch supply, it's a $5,000 privilege fee to the town of Southbridge. Then Charlton also assesses a privilege fee because we're responsible for maintaining our distribution system. So if there's a water main break on that road, the town of Charlton pays for the repair.
Okay.
Or anywhere, sorry, not
So
just
there's no,
that road
there's,
specifically.
yeah, there's not a direct cost to the town of Charlton now. It's a,
There is not.
So we don't hook up the pipe, Southbridge hooks up the pipe?
No, Southbridge doesn't even hook up the pipe.
Oh,
The
So we-
landowner is responsible for paying a contractor to make the connection.
but Southbridge oversees everything.
Right, Southbridge will oversee it and sign off on the permitting of it. So,
We're responsible for digging and putting in the pipe.
no,
No, they hire a contractor.
that,
Okay.
the property owner hires a contractor.
I got you.
yeah, our only cost is like the general, just maintaining our system for the next 100 years to,
Yes.
make sure there's
exactly.
water that can go into that connection.
Right.
Yes,
And that's the only time we get paid by the customer?
no, we get a sharing in the profits from the town of Southbridge in the water they bill.
Okay,
So if Southbridge made $100 on the town of on the usage, they would share their profit of that $100 with the town of Charlton.
okay. Now, Vinny, the 400 gallons a day, I know that's set by Massachusetts. I mean, is that per day for all the machines or per machine?
That is per machine, and I don't have it for upload, but this is the floor plan that they gave me.
Mhm.
They show 12 new machines when they're finished with construction. So 12 machines at 400 gallons a day is 4,800 gallons per day. That is the Title V number, which is a really large figure.
That's huge.
It is. I couldn't say he would never use that, but it's probably pretty unlikely he's gonna hit it regularly.
Okay.
But it's the basis on which all the other places in town have been
Yes,
assessed fees.
yes. So it's all, so typically, if this was gonna be a brand new building, we would ask the engineer doing the development for the Title V calculations. They would provide us their flow gallons per day calculation. And then we would enter it into our privilege fee chart and come up with the exact dollar amount. So on the town's website, there's a privilege fee calculation.
I don't think it's a bad idea to run it by Chris and make sure everything's right. And,
I agree.
Okay, I just wanted to get that out in the open and. Yeah, cause they're kind of being forced. I guess the DEP was involved with the water main for some reason. And the Board of Health has been involved, so it's one of those things, the property owner's hand is being forced to do it as well. I did speak with Kathleen at the town hall. Because it's not a new construction, a betterment could be attached to the property where they could pay it over a long term because it's something out of their control. Again, you guys would have to vote on it at that point to allow them to attach it to the property. Instead of forcing the owner to come up with whatever the dollar amount is.
Right.
that's a
Just,
lot of loads of laundry. That's a lot of loads of laundry.
It really is, and yeah,
Vinny, I just had a thought that if for some reason, because I had gone there too, if the town or the commission were to come up with an exception for this person, could you possibly use the actual? Because he said they were high efficiency machines. So let's say those machines will use only 10 gallons per load, and the operating hours are 8 hours a day, per machine. So it's 80 gallons per machine per day times 12. If that, because really that's the max
right.
that would possibly put out. I mean, it would probably be a lot different number, possibly. just a thought that came across my mind if there was to have to be a discussion of some
Right,
sort
'cause
of
he did
exception.
mention they were high efficiency machines, so.
Yeah, so that the Title V, has it been assessed every year? Is that an old number from who knows when? I don't know. I was just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I could mention that to Chris when I'm talking to him about reviewing this.
So if we were going to agree to a lower number on the basis of lower hours, would there need to be some sort of contract specifying that hours cannot exceed a certain number per day, or how would that work?
I think we could cross that bridge once we talk with the engineer that's gonna double check it. He might have a whole different recommendation for the commission other than what we're looking at. So I think our first step should be to talk to Chris and get him to weigh in on this. Just because it is a large dollar amount for a little place. I mean, this is probably his profit for the next 5 or 6 years or something.
Yeah, we need as much information before we make a decision to make an exception, because then other businesses will be saying, well, hey, I'm not gonna do this. I'm only gonna use this. And they'd want an exception too.
Yeah, I mean, slippery slope, right?
Okay.
What's good for one is good for
We-
all.
And we need a motion to have McClure look at it?
No, I already reached out to him.
Okay,
So once he comes up with a number, then you'll vote on it.
okay. Thank you.
So we don't need any motions about
Not right-
giving him time to pay this.
Um, let's come up with a dollar amount
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, we're not proposing a dollar amount tonight, Paul.
Oh, I know that, but I just didn't know whatever it is, if we were gonna give him time, as a betterment fee to, or a privilege fee rather, to pay it. If you don't want to make that decision tonight, that's fine.
I think we should do it all as one. Approve the dollar amount and how it's financed or
Okay.
assessed.
And is Chris with us tonight?
No, I don't see him.
Because I see he's next in the agenda here for the
Yeah,
water system status updates. I assume that's the blue tank and whatever, so.
yeah.
Well, then we can move on to the
Vinny's
digitizing
updates.
the records. What's that?
Vinny's updates and.
Oh, I thought that was, that's number E here.
So,
Yeah, he's gonna wrap it up all into one.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Sure.
so the last item I have for you guys is, a couple months ago, we talked about converting the records to digital copies. So you approved me for 10 days at $250 a day. We ended up doing closer to 15 days. We helped Sue out with some medial tasks and we scanned a bunch of documents. We only billed for the 10 days we agreed upon. During that time, we scanned 181 individual files. Those are on property addresses. That was the complete top drawer of the filing cabinet, which is a lot. And the system we scanned it into is shared on the town's drive. So once we put it in and open it up to everybody, any office at the town hall could review it if their access to our drive is there, which makes it shareable. You can also search inside of all of those files by keyword. So if you wanted to see if somebody had a water meter, you could say, does this address have a water meter? And it would look for anything that contains that phrase. So it's a really usable system, and I hope once the new executive assistant comes on board, she can continue this project and get everything scanned in. That's my update on it.
So I'm just wondering, can we retroactively determine that all 15 days were a worthwhile expenditure and allocate for that, or is that just water under the bridge?
So every town office has already done this, except for water and sewer. And some of them got grant money to pay for it. Some of them paid for it with department funds. It's a very expensive task, no matter who does it. So the 2,500 this commission spent on it, although it's not a completed task, it didn't go to waste.
Oh, no, I was suggesting that, if you billed for 10 days, but in actuality, there were 15 days spent on it, it seems that it was a good use of time and perhaps we ought to cover those expenses. It just seems,
No, I'm fine where I am. They weren't 10-hour days. We were perfectly fine covering what we covered.
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Sure, the ratepayers will appreciate it on principle.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, again, isn't that my job to try to look out for the best interest of the department in the town?
Okay, you got anything else for us, Vinny?
I think that's all I have, Paul.
Anybody got anything for Vinny?
I don't.
Vinny, the nitrogen meeting on Monday
Yes.
do we currently have a nitrogen limit?
Well, we have an ammonia limit.
Right, but not, they're not, and are we meeting it?
Not regularly.
Okay.
So what I was hoping to get out of this is there's only like 47 towns available for this grant money. It's $7 million for 40 something towns. Figure if half of them attend the meeting, you're down to 20 towns competing for $7 million. The math works in our favor to try to go and get some. And I'm hoping we could probably put some of that towards the engineering of the new facility, because the new facility will reduce our nitrogen. So that was my thoughts. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's able to be used for that, but a lot of times if a grant's aiming at a specific target, you can use it for the engineering of it.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I already registered. I plan to attend Monday.
Yeah.
I-
I'll-
Yeah,
Um,
there's no requirement for you guys to attend, but I did share it.
I'll call in.
So, is there any issue with the open meeting law, or are we all allowed to show up?
How many people are gonna go?
It's not an in-person, it's a Zoom, and you're normally muted during it. So
Right.
there can't be any conversation back and forth between commissioners.
It's like we're all watching the same TV show.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know that meeting rules are gonna apply for that.
I'm just to cover all the bases, I'll just ask Andrew just to make sure. And worst case scenario, I post and you guys attend the class. I mean, that's it.
It's Monday morning.
It's
Yeah.
Monday at 1.
Oh, it's at one.
Yep.
So there's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it will be fine. Just to be safe, I just want to ask.
Anybody got anything else for this evening?
Just, so last time we talked about Vinny, wanting to take some of the money that had been allocated for pump station improvements. Is that going forward, or did that get put on hold because the allocation wasn't voted for those purposes? Do you know where we stand on that issue?
Me, myself?
No, Vinny, I think.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, we were moving forward, ordering the pots. There was 50,000 that was allocated specifically for a pump station. And Ashley told me directly she could make it work.
Okay, so it's the one that's for the north side, North Main, for Main Street Pump Station?
Yeah. Well, no. There was 50,000 for the North Main pump station that wasn't utilized.
Yeah, she gave me the list. It was a fork truck, repave the parking lot, sludge design, North Main Pump Station upgrades, 50,000.
Right. The North Main pump station upgrades already happened, but it was paid for out of the wrong account, so we have that money sitting there.
Where was it
What's
paid
the
out?
money she said she could allocate to other pump stations as long as it was pump stations.
When did that upgrade happen?
July?
Of 25?
Yeah, yes.
We all done for this evening?
Well, I was just wondering, Sue, could this go on the agenda for next session? Like a
Okay.
discussion about these allocated but unspent
Yep.
monies, what we should do with them?
Yep.
What was the first one? Raz and Waz?
The,
Fork.
it was fork truck, 3,200.
So what happened, Vinny, is this goes back a while. You guys, and it was a larger dollar amount that was allocated. You guys bought the fork truck and that's just the remainder. It's only what, like 3,200 bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sent out an email today, Vinny. I'll send you a copy of it, of what, how much we had in the various funds,
Okay, thank
the
you.
capital improvement funds, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I had, Paul.
We're all in for tonight then? Nobody's got anything else?
Paul,
Yes.
is
Oh.
this your last? Oh, go ahead.
Tom, you are on my path. I was gonna say this, I believe, is gonna be Paul's last meeting again.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well,
Is it your last meeting, Paul?
I expect it will be. And with that in mind, I'd certainly like to thank all the people who have voted for me over the many years I've been on the board. And we can look for a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Well, we want to say thank you for all the work that you did.
That's right. Thank you for serving your serving community, Paul.
Certainly welcome.
Yep.
And you guys are up next to do the same. Maybe you'll be on for as many years. So
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
thank you. You're welcome. So,
So I will motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
okay, any discussion about that? If not, Sue, go ahead, please.
Mr. Robert Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Thomas Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Groton,
Aye.
Mr. Gagner,
Aye.